so pleased that Masterchef is back, and we have the judges, Matt, Preston and Gary Mehigan.
Yay!
Are you getting a little bit jealous there?
No, I'm not. What I'm really impressed by, the most flattering thing when someone produces one of your books is not they produce the book, it's the fact that you've got tags, you've got tabs in the book for your favourite recipes, which I love.
It's covered in plastic.
And it's covered in plastic,
which means it gets used.
I
Yeah,
should
it's fantastic.
probably
Most
explain,
flattering.
Gary, I brought in this morning, last time you were here, lovely of you to give me a copy of your book, Comfort Food, of which I have put the contact plastic over the front.
Mind you, neither of us got a choice at it.
Yeah,
It was a
that's
present
mine!
from
No,
Laura,
but
basically.
Matt, I can say, I
Mm.
love your lemon tart from your book. I make that all the time.
Well, you do need to know, and I don't know if you know this, but all of our partners all cook out of each other's books.
No, I love that.
It's a really funny story.
Yeah,
Like,
nice.
George will ring me up and go, Natalie wants to know what she can replace mace with in your curry dish. Or Mandy will ring me up at work and go, I've got Matt Preston's chocolate tart in the oven and it's not setting, what do I do? I go, ring Matt! Don't ring me! And why aren't you using my chocolate tart? Well, they all do it. It's hilarious.
They're terrific books, but I've got a confession to make, Gary. Inside, because my mum's such a fan, other than my name at the top, I got you to sign it for my beautiful mum. She never got it.
Can you change that? Can you cross out her mum's name?
Cross out my mum's name.
I like it. There's nothing wrong with it.
Oh, look, I love the recipes in this, and your books too, Matt. And I've got quite a few of them at home. But it must be very difficult for you guys when you're putting together your own things, because on MasterChef, are they your recipes that you come up with?
What, on Masterclass,
On
for example?
Masterclass, yeah, they'll be our recipes, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you ever run out of ideas?
No, because food is it's always changing, always evolving, always interesting. There's always something. I mean, you know, we eat out a lot, for example. There's always something that you go, wow, what a great idea.
Is it like writing a song on an album, like the band gets up and says, hey man, you had a recipe last week, it's my turn for a recipe. No, Ringo, it's not.
Yeah, poor old Ringo. 2 songs. No, I think there are 2 things about that. The first thing is that we're constantly being inspired by the contestants, because they're putting together a combination of ideas. Some of them are amazingly successful we haven't seen before, and that's very exciting. And across my books, there are a number of recipes that have come straight out of the contestants, where I've asked them to share the recipe with me. But I think the other thing about it is that I'm very mindful. I think Gary and George are as well. It's very very lazy just to make the same recipe and change the ingredient. And you try and avoid that. You know, here's hummus with chicken. Here's hummus with beetroot. Here's hummus with... So we're trying to avoid that stuff and do something fresh new. Otherwise, why would you buy the book?
Is there such a thing as plagiarism in
Oh yeah,
cookbooks?
absolutely. It happens the whole time.
In restaurants, yeah, there's been a number of cases, and we won't tell them individually what they were, but it's been a number of cases where, and especially before social media, Instagram, Facebook became so much part of our lives, where you could get away with it. You could go to New York, you could eat a menu and come back and put little elements on that you taste. It was all part of the experimentation and the seeing what everybody else is doing. But there was a particular incident where the chef actually just copied the whole thing, and to the point that even all the little bits of crockery and cutlery and everything were exactly the same. And of course he got busted, and really it devastated. It destroyed his reputation.
Yeah, but I think I also don't understand. I mean, I as a writer, there's a very well-known Australian cook who has copied a recipe directly out of a very well-known overseas cook, and the words are the same, and you just know they're the same recipe, same ingredients. One of 2 things: either change it, make your own, and put a spin on it, or more importantly, just
Give them kudos.
Like I wanted to make a golden syrup dumpling recipe, and I did 3 or 4. And I went, these aren't as good as Margaret Fulton's. So I rang Margaret Fulton and said, I need a golden syrup. Can I use yours? And then in the book, you credit the person.
Oh, great.
There's nothing wrong with crediting the person. Musicians and cooks are very bad at that, about saying we got the idea from.
Well, Marco Pierre White did it for years with Michel Roux's lemon tart recipe.
Yes,
and it
right.
actually gave him kudos on the menu, and so it became super famous. Lovely. So yeah, but occasionally, let's be honest, when it comes, every time Masterclass crops up, you've got to come up with a dish that, you know, fills the gaps in the contestants' education, introduces something new, maybe do something that you're thrilled with. And I do often go, And I do use the boys. I use Matt and George as a soundboard to go, you know, what do you reckon? Will this go together and whatever? And it's a nice relationship that we have where we can do that.
But that's the other thing as well, you know, we're very lucky that we work together and we all come from very different places for food. And so there is this amazing brains trust. So I'm writing my column for the Courier Mail. If I don't know something, if it's technical, I'll always ask Gary. You know, if I'm looking for a weird flavour combination, I'll ask George.
Yeah.
So we are very lucky like that. It is like a little kind of hothouse of food ideas. So.
I've just realised though, as you're saying that I do ask George quite a lot what to do, and then I tend to ignore it. I just realised. And you know why? It's because it's that flavour thing. He goes, "What about taking?" Because I go, "I want to do a sardine dish," and he goes, "Why don't you take the bones from the sardines and roast them or smoke them with tea?" And I look at him and go, No, I'd rather eat the sardines.
But you know why that is the process, because you've done a number of cooks with George working together. You'll do 8 elements in the 30 minutes. George will do 1. It'll be disgusting and won't get used, like the sardines.
Yeah, because his brain's operating on a different level. That's why he's such a successful cook. So he'll experiment. But when you're competing against contestants and you've got 30 minutes, you don't have time to experiment, George. Just don't do something you know works. So.
I love cooking, and I would love to talk all morning. Unfortunately, we don't have the time, but I really wanted to go in and dissect that Snickers bar dessert from Shannon Bennett the other night from View to Mine. My goodness me! How in the world? And no one really got all of the elements right. There was either something wrong with the nougat or something wrong with the what do you call it? Chocolate on the top, tempered.
The temperature.
Oh,
you know, all you got to do is download the recipe from Template, and you can make it yourself. And it isn't that hard. You just, especially when you don't have the pressure of time.
Yes.
Please, or alternative, you just chop up your Snickers bar, a little bit of cream, melt it in the microwave, pour it over in an ice cream. Done. That Preston Snickers bar.
Or alternatively, mix it with cornflakes.
Oh, you've made it a breakfast meal.
Hey, if you can eat muffins for breakfast, which are essentially eating cake, and we can justify cake at any time of the day, then why not? That's a great idea.
Well,
Snickers cornflakes breakfast.
While we were watching that segment, my husband said, "I'm going to do what I did last time. I got the Snickers bar, I put a bit of pastry around the outside, I stuck it in the oven and served it with ice cream, and the kids loved it."
Wow. You're thinking
I'm there.
crispy pastry with a Snickers inside.
With puff pastry, delicious.
You see, it doesn't matter how fancy the food gets on Masterchef. You see, there's still things like that make us laugh and think about food in a normal way.
Absolutely.
Rather than Shannon Bennett's chocolate dessert.
Matt Preston, Gary Mehigan, it's another fantastic season of Masterchef, and thank you so much for dropping by.
Absolute pleasure.